All right, this week is all about geometry postulates. This is simply fancy for rules, what we know to be true about lines, planes, points, all those different geometry figures that we've been looking at. So that first postulate, that rule is that through any 2 points, you can draw a line. So if you look in the sample there, EF, you can draw one line between those 2 points. So looking at the first example, if we're given 3 non-collinear points, A, B, and C, so they're kind of just hanging out in space, we can draw and connect 2 points to make a line. So I could draw a line and connect point A and point B. And on the space here, we could label that as line AB. Same with BC. I can connect them with a line and label it using capital letters with the symbol above it. We can also take a look at the figure and connect these two. So AC with the symbol above it for a label. So remember, we label with 2 capital letters and the small symbol above. Now this week I'd like to do it slightly different. Throughout the notes there are try it on your own sections. So this will actually be on your assignment. So hopefully you already have that pulled up and read the directions and then watch the video. But you can go ahead and try this one on your own. Remember, you're drawing lines through those different points. So you can use the draw feature on Microsoft Word and draw. You guys are also free to draw yourself your own figure. If you're not comfortable with a computer, you can draw it on a piece of paper and then also label the different lines that can be drawn through those points. And there are actually 6 lines. So you can pause the video, work on this, or let's take a look at rule 2. Let me see if I can bring this in our screen a little bit better here. Okay, so it's a little squished, but rule 2, is that if you have 2 lines and you cross them, they're going to come together at exactly 1 point. So if we look at our sample here, line S and line T. Now notice this time in my figure, it just decided to label them with lowercase letters. Remember, lines can also be labeled that way. So if we cross those 2 lines, you have 1 point of intersection. So taking a look at an example, I'm going to go ahead and drag down your picture. So taking a look at that picture right there, it should look familiar to you if you have done the problem before. Looking at this figure from above, what would be the intersection between PS and SR? Now the first thing is you should remember that 2 lines come together at 1 point. I'm going to go ahead and get my label in there. And I'm going to look at PS and SR. So PS is purple here at the top, and so is SR. So we're looking right here, PS, and right here at SR. They come together, you should see, right here, or where my purple lines cross, and that would be my intersection at point S. Okay, looking at the blue lines above, QR and line PR, looking at where those blue lines come together. It's a little off of my figure, my drawing's not the most accurate, but you should see that the blue lines cross right here, and again, 2 lines cross at a point. So label and capital letter. So that's if you have a picture. You should know in geometry that 2 lines cross at a point. However, you're not always going to have a picture, and sometimes you're just going to need to look at the written form of the problem. So if I'm looking at this example right here, just take a minute, look at it where we have those 2 lines PS and SR, they cross at point S. Anybody see any similarities, or can you make any guesses? So hopefully you might have come up with the idea that both of our lines have the label S in it. So that is the point that is used twice. It is part of both of the lines. So again, if I look at that purple example above, PS, here's my S down here, and RS, they both cover that spot S. So for my answer and for my shortcut, if you do not see a picture, you should be able to identify that it is the repeated letter. So my shortcut, look for the repeated letter because that letter is where they intersect. So again, just even kind of looking at this other example here, QR and PR, just looking at the letters and the labels, you should notice that they both have an R, so therefore they intersect at point R. Okay, so it's a little cut off on my screen, but you should also see this in your picture, and I guess me moving it in kind of messed up my labels, but you'll see this in your assignment. So I want you to take a minute either now, pause the video and take a minute, name the intersection points, and then also kind of take a look at the second section there that if you do not have a picture, using that shortcut, couldn't you identify the point where those two lines intersect? So again, you can either pause this or continue on to the last section. All right, so along the same idea, the last half here is if your task is to draw two lines and you notice they both contain the same letter, your picture drawing should show those lines intersecting. So here, let's take a look at the first example. And again, the second example there on the sheet, you'll see it also on your assignment page, is the one that you're going to try. So if my example, if I'm drawing BD and DF, or I'm sorry, DE, you should notice that they both contain the letter D. So you can start by drawing your first line. I'll show you two different ways to think about it. Okay, so there's my first line, B and D. If I'm going to draw DE, I have to go through this point right here, right? Because they share it. Oh, get back there. Because they share it. So when I'm going to draw my second line, DE, you might be inclined to do this. Remember, we're talking about a line, so it's going to extend the whole way through. D, my point D is just right here. And I'm going to go ahead and label another point on my purple line there, E. Now the intersection point, what letter do they share? Where do they cross? You would know by your picture. And also if you looked at the shortcut, both of them contain the letter D. So my very last point is, my very last step here is to just identify that intersection point, guys. So point D. So there's another one drawing lines TS and RS. So your picture should be similar. They should have a intersecting point that is labeled. You should be able to identify that given the statement there. And then last part, guys, just go ahead and identify that point by label next to intersection point. So good luck. Reach out if you need any help. Again, you can use this video to kind of work through your assignment with it or follow it front to back and then pull up your assignment and work on it afterwards. Please let me know if you have any difficulties annotating. You might even be able to use your finger and use the draw if you have a touch screen. Again, if drawing on the computer is very difficult, please feel free. I'm going to make this submission also allow for you to draw it on a sheet of paper and then also take a picture and submit it that way. So again, reach out if you need help. I completely understand if there are some technical glitches, but I need you guys to communicate with me so I can help you out. All right, good luck.